Venom is one of the most iconic Spider-Man characters ever. What originally started out as a reactionary move to the backlash from fans who hated the newly gained black suit from Secret Wars, Venom has gone on from a villain to being an anti-hero, and it is unfortunate that his first outing was handled so poorly. Everyone can agree that the portrayal in Spider-Man 3 was haphazard, shoved in, and poorly thought out. When it came to the announcement of Venom, I was a bit hesitant. How do you make an origin story for a character when they aren't going to bring in Spider-Man? Going into this film, I was fearing for the worst. However, coming out of the film, I found myself enjoying it a bit more than I thought I would. It isn't that bad, but it does have some problems with this endeavor. The story follows Eddie Brock, a journalist who goes to investigate the Life Foundation and their human rights violating experiments. This winds up getting into contact with the symbiote Venom, who aims to head back into space to bring back more symbiotes to destroy the world, and at the same time, Riz Ahmed plays a generic billionaire who aims to go to space using the symbiote's powers. Let's be honest, Venom is not that bad, but it really isn't good either. Let's start with the things I liked first. Portrayal-wise, Venom and Eddie's relationship is great and portrays it well. What sells this is Hardy's dual role as the voice of Venom. It literally sells the fact that Eddie is just speaking to himself. Venom's appearance, while messy in the CG department, is also properly handled, minus the giant spider symbol. Venom's dialogue is hilarious, albeit unintentional at times. Some of the humor is great and genuinely made me laugh, but at other points it was unintentional and made me laugh at the movie and not with it. And some of the action sequences are pretty cool as well. Aside from these factors, the film has more problems structurally. The first thing is tone. It goes from tone to tone with no transition. It decides it wants to be a comedy in the second act, and in the third act it's just a giant monster battle that feels too serious. The first act of the film is so drawn out and slow that people around me were getting impatient. Even I was. Once Venom is in the picture, it picks right up and runs with it. Michelle Williams' and Riz Ahmed's characters don't get proper development, and the film has almost no character arcs. Venom is the closest to such a thing, but it is done in the most in-your-face via exposition. But these aren't even the biggest problems with the film. I believe that this film shot Sony in the foot for their plans in mind. It is now believed that Sony lied to the audience with the movie's rating, saying originally it was going to be rated R, but saying that they were never going to have it be rated R in the first place because they want Spider-Man to be in Venom eventually. This isn't a bad thing, but if they wanted that, why introduce Carnage? Carnage, by and large, is one of the most violent characters in comics, period. To effectively portray this character in the sequel, like Maximum Carnage, it needs to be rated R. But if Sony wants to make that teenage family money, they must make it PG-13. By Sony setting the precedent to not going the distance with such a violent character like Venom, how is anyone going to take Venom 2 any seriously if the sequel is PG-13? It won't sell the character at all if it's not rated R. This goes especially for them bringing in Spider-Man. I don't think people want a rated R Spider-Man film, especially with the Tom Holland version that Sony and Marvel Studios collaborated on. Even if they bring this version into the fray, Venom would lack any sort of feud with Spidey, since there isn't any backstory with both the symbiote and Spidey feuding with each other. I personally believe that Venom should just continue without Spidey. It wouldn't make sense. It clearly wants to be a big monster fight movie, so why not make the franchise like that as well? Venom as a whole isn't a good film. It isn't as bad as Catwoman like some people are saying, but it is bad in a different way. Parts of it are enjoyable and some of the stuff I kinda liked, but overall Venom hurts Sony's chances of expanding into its relationship with Spider-Man to fully represent it properly. Things like Maximum Carnage are in jeopardy, and the fans of that could be disappointed in the end. Venom gets a D+.